Welcome to There Can Be Only Fun, a place where people can come to think about Highlander.
Yeah, think about it. Think about
Highlander movies and the shows and the TV movies. Oh, there can be only one first episode, and this is it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
he said the thing.
Welcome to There Can Be Only Fun. We are going to talk about the Highlander films, the TV series, the ins and outs, the ups and downs, the emotions,
the anime,
the turns, the Spaniards, everything.
Let's throw some quotes around Spaniards, please.
Yeah.
Yes. I have seen Highlander many times in my life. I couldn't count the amount of times. It's part of my movie childhood and teenhood and 20s now. But you guys, first time dipping your toes into the Highlanders.
Yes. Yeah. And listeners will hopefully at this point have heard that we did a little pre-episode where we talked about what we think it might be. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Some talk of time travel was assumed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that there would be purple lightning, and spoiler alert, I was very disappointed.
Yeah. So I think we were like off and on in certain ways.
Yeah.
I think I feel like we got some of the spirit of it right.
Yeah. Sure. I think so. The fact that there would be a juxtaposition of ye oldie and 80s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's introduce ourselves.
Oh, why don't we do that? Sure. Why don't you start, Mr. Ideas?
Me? I'm Casey.
Nice. You did it. Nailed it.
That's you now, buddy. Go.
I remembered both syllables.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Greg.
Yeah.
Okay.
We all are.
In a lot of ways, we all are.
Yeah. So let's do a little bit of table setting about Highlander.
Let's do that.
So 1986, obviously, from the director who previously had done music videos, and also Razorback, which is a sick movie. The Australian movie.
So where that guy wants to get his razor back.
Yeah.
Give me it back.
Come on, I need it.
Yeah.
All right, here you go.
The end.
Russell Mulcahy. You can tell from watching Highlander, they did music videos.
Yeah.
You can also tell it's fucking great.
Yeah. And I did read that the person who wrote the screenplay wrote it like in school in UCLA, and was just like, I saw the Ridley Scott movie The Duelists, which is about like two duelist dudes, and was like, I'm gonna make a movie where it's like you live forever. And I guess that there's a scene in the movie where he kind of goes home and there's all the things from throughout time. He was like, that was the idea, that like you could go home and be like, I wore all these things in all these wars or whatever.
Look at all these hats.
Yeah.
So
this one's like a shark fin.
Yeah.
My time in that underwater lair.
Yeah.
Hat is like a shark's fin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Real moment. Yes. Not what I thought for most of my entire life.
Like his head is like a...
Yeah.
I just enjoy that assertion. My head is very narrow.
It seemed more... I don't know. Hat seemed like sillier to me.
Hat does seem sillier until you picture a head that looks like a shark's fin.
But as previously covered in the past, I took it to mean my head is like a shark's fin because when you see me coming, I'm gonna murder you.
When you see my head,
it was like a fun way to say
bite your leg.
It was a fun way to say it's on site.
What was the like Thundercats type? Wasn't there a Thundercat type thing with shark type stuff? Wasn't there?
Oh yeah, Street Sharks.
Yeah, there you go. I kind of picture something like that.
Yeah.
It's much better than a stupid hat. And then, so is it a hat like he went to like a shark restaurant and they had like a hat that the waiters wear or something?
Yeah.
That's very cool.
The street sharks' heads are like a shark's fin.
Yeah.
You're right.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah, she needs to change that song. All right.
I did not know that this was in part a Canon joint. So when the Canon logo came up, I got very excited, as I do.
As you tend to do.
Yeah. Do we want to just like? Do we want to set the table with our feelings, or do we just want to dive in?
Well, I think we should set the table with our feelings. I think we should kind of give our impressions.
Sure.
Dan, why don't you go first?
So right away, for like 5 to 10 minutes, I was like, this is the best movie ever made.
Of all time.
Yeah. Yeah, certainly that wrestling match right away in the wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
and by the time I got to the end of the film, I was like, well, this is certainly a very good movie that is unfortunately 2 hours long. And that's like a half hour too long. Any movie, I don't care, make it 90 minutes, it's going to be a 5-star. This movie would be a 5-star banger if it was 90 minutes. But I still very much enjoyed my time, my first time with Highlander on the whole.
Yeah. Like that was very much my experience as well. I mean, I was in a great place to watch a movie. It was 5 a.m., which for me is actually like, that's like a real nice chill time to hang out and watch Highlander. And I don't know what I was. Oh, I know what I was expecting. I was expecting to be a little bored because I'm not a big sword and sandals guy.
Me either.
I can't abide it. It just bores me. And a lot of medieval nonsense just kind of goes over my head. But God damn it. I like, for all its many faults and ridiculousness, I fucking loved this movie. I was just so on board. Just like you said, like for the first 5 minutes, I was like, what is happening? What is this wrestling match? And who are these fancy wrestlers? And then I didn't know what Christopher Lambert. Now, sorry, if we can, because we're going to be pronouncing this a lot. Do we say Lambert?
Yeah.
Is it pronounced
I think
Lambert?
So, yeah.
Yes, it's French.
It's not Lambert.
No.
All right. Well, I've known
Christopher Lambert.
Yeah. All right. So I don't know what he was doing, but he seemed very cranky at that wrestling match.
Yeah, I don't know. He thought he was at a different event, maybe.
Yeah. Like he thought he was gonna go and see Skinnerd or something.
Yeah.
He's like, what the fuck is that? Well, this is almost Skinnerd, but
I mean, I'll watch, but
yeah, but I'm gonna be real scowly.
I won't approve.
It was like Homer on The Simpsons. He thought he was going to see the bear rolling around on a tricycle. He was like, oh.
What's the one where the chicks wail on each other?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, there are boring parts of this movie.
For sure. And I mean, I've always loved this movie, and despite its many flaws. And is there room for improvement? Of course there is.
Yeah.
Is it too long? Of course it is. But it's just so watchable. It's just such a I always got into deeply with this movie was the idea. Maybe it is just something somebody wrote and like based on a very small principle, but it's a really good idea.
Yeah,
it's a simple idea that's fleshed out really nicely.
Yeah,
like I really enjoyed the storytelling of this movie. Like there are whole things like that sword lady. She didn't have to exist in this movie. What was her whole deal? Just, well, I mean, he needed a love interest in every single era of his life.
Yeah.
So I guess she fit that bill. But other than that, she seemed clumsily written in. But everything else was fucking great. And man, I don't want to tip my hand too quickly, but goddamn Clancy fucking Brown. God damn it.
Yeah.
Every time I see that guy, I'm delighted. And man, I've never seen him bigger or more fucking ridiculous than in this movie. And God, I love him so much.
It's also interesting because I think there is an element of this movie, and maybe it's because the director was like a music video guy, but for like a big budget, like pretty big budget mainstream movie, like it doesn't necessarily hold your hand. Like I was watching it, and Emma and I were both like, when it's first starting to switch between ye olde time and new time, like I kind of knew what was going on, but we were both like, are they gonna like explain this or no? Okay, so like they really kind of like just let you sit in the idea that like we're gonna cut back in time and not tell you if it's a flashback, not tell you if it's like the same person. It's clearly the same person, but like I mean they put a little bit of trust in that that you're just gonna follow along.
Yeah, and I felt it was pretty easy to follow along. Like I was like, all right, I can see that this is where we are, and but then again, that's all like prior knowledge, right? Like
Yeah.
I know there's going to be he's a guy who probably, I mean, he's immortal, so he probably lived back then, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So maybe if you didn't have that, it was confusing.
Totally. But they don't like really explicitly start talking about like there's people who are immortal until like well after they've been throwing you back and forth.
Absolutely.
It's like
and I like
half an hour in until Connery flies in and cock blocks him.
Oh man. But yeah, it didn't really like it just kind of like assumed that you would follow along, and I like that. Like I like that they didn't over explain.
Yeah, I did like that they had that woman in the 80s stuff because I mean, I will admit that every time it gets back to 1985 and there's like a cop story going on and there's all this stuff going on about the repercussions of them being immortal, I was like, now this is the shit I love in this movie. But
it looks so good. Good Lord, this is a grainy movie.
Oh my God.
It looks amazing. Like that's a music video guy, it doesn't matter. This looks great. The shots are well done. Like it's really something.
Oh my God. Like there are some shots that are just set up where I'm like, this is fucking legitimately beautiful.
Yeah, and the cinematographer Jerry Fisher did Wolfen and some other movies.
Nice.
And like him and this director working together, it's just like every scene is fucking cool. It's the most 80s cocaine cool like production ever.
And that being said, like you have all this like really high quality stuff going on. Like, why not take the extra steps and I don't know, cast it properly? Like,
why not?
They wanted Lambert because he was kind of hot commodity because of this film Subway, a French film. And they're like, let's get that guy. And they're like, yeah, great. And they're like, hey, he doesn't speak a word of English. And they're like, okay. Who gives a shit?
Well, let's see. Yeah. These are the people who cast Sean Connery as a Spanish man.
Yeah. There's a Scottish character in this movie.
Egyptian Spaniard.
Right.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. He's a Spaniard by way of Egypt.
Yeah.
Like,
he's not a Spaniard. He's a Spaniard.
And for not speaking any English, it's. I mean, I guess that's impressive, but like, that's like if they found an actor like he's good, except he just bleeds from his mouth the entire time, and then like just wipe him up in between scenes.
I understood most of what he was saying.
I don't know that he did, and that's like there's a lot of scenes where I'm like, he doesn't know what's going on here.
You know what though? It has a really kind of like it makes his performance have a really kind of like charming, fun.
It's memorable.
Kind of
Everything like I sounds super weird.
I did find him quite charming in this. Like I enjoyed him in kind of like a kind of a way, but I was like, yeah, this guy's footing the bill here.
Yeah, and that's part of what makes it great, that it's a great bad movie, because there's all this stuff that's like, nope, this isn't good because this guy sounds ridiculous.
Yeah,
like and you have Scottish Spaniard, and it's so silly in his little outfit and stuff. But then you're like, well, what if this is 1986? What if this is starring Michael Biehn and Raul Julia? Like, that's probably a pretty good movie. Or
I wonder if it would have just gone too far. Like I wonder if it would have become boring with legitimate actors. Like I feel like the camp of this, like there are certain shots and certain moments in this movie, and I realized that Darkman and Sam Raimi came well after, but that felt a little Raimi-esque, like a little kind of just silly, crazy, like quick pulls into faces,
for sure.
and just windows exploding everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
So good. The movement of the camera in this movie is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
it's fantastic.
There's that shot in the opening when it's showing you the arena and it's like flying around the arena, like, and then into him.
Drone shot, such a drone shot that they.
I was wondering about that. It was interesting because it looks like a drone shot, but then the music is kind of like this synth that's going like, and I was like, is it a helicopter?
Yeah.
What is happening with this shot?
I know. Or is it like some huge elaborate crane or something?
Well, yeah, inside of a packed stadium.
I don't know, or it's hanging from the rafters. Yeah, it's amazing. And then when you get to the fight underground, it's like even also more amazing camera work.
Well, that's where,
my God.
If you're not wrapped into, he goes down to the parking garage and there's a guy in a suit who has a fucking sword and is like, let's go.
Yeah.
If you're not into that, then yeah, this movie isn't for you. But I can't see how you wouldn't be. And then,
if you're not into that, I'm sorry for what happened in your life that you can't experience joy.
So we're at the beginning. We might as well just kind of go through this movie from there. So
totally,
there's the big fight, and I'm always amazed at how much shit fucking happens when a Highlander is decapitated.
Yeah,
which is
it's an ordeal.
It's fucking huge. It's like quite a disaster.
Yeah.
You think it'd be more subtle, or they would do it in places where it wouldn't be a fucking shit show.
Yeah.
Nope. Always in an alley.
Alley, lots of cars so they can explode.
So good. Now we do get this at the beginning of the movie.
From the dawn of time we came, moving silently down through the centuries, living many secret lives, struggling to reach the time of the gathering, when the few who remain will battle to the last.
Yeah,
no one has ever known we were among you.
No,
I didn't
until
know.
Now.
Yeah.
Now I do know. Yes, I did see Highlander, so I do know.
Yeah. The Gathering, whoop whoop.
So there's all these. There's a big amount of, or who knows how many immortals, and they're
if I can
just chop each other's heads off, it's the only way they'll die. And
if I can interject with a question, if there can be only one, why are there so many?
Mm-hmm.
Like, when can there be only one? At what point can there only be one?
When the gathering has happened and all the quick.
Yeah, but how often does the gathering only happen once?
Well, the less there are, the more aware of each other that they're drawn to each other.
Yeah.
They'll wind up in one place until there's only one, and they get the prize.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the prize was.
Lightning.
Oh, I remember him getting some lightning.
Yeah.
And that book lady.
Yeah. And apparently a lot of physical training. So when they're having that sword fight, for some reason, the other guy that he's fighting, the guy in the suit, just does like a 50 flips.
Yeah.
In the middle.
I fucking love that.
Flips. Yeah.
Like, literally, he did not need to be flipping away for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But he's flipping down a hallway forever. And I'm like, stop!
I was like, keep going.
Die!
Yeah, when that happened, I laughed very hard.
So long. It's fucking beautiful.
It's amazing.
Maybe that's his escape. Like, is he like, I'm out of here?
Woo! Oh my God.
It's amazing.
Ridiculous.
He's so good at flipping. And then, like, Highlander McLeod, he has like a really hard time getting his sword out from under a car.
Yeah, it was really under there.
I get it. I'm 46. If my socks are under the bed, I'm like, oh, son of a
bitch. No. Yeah.
Time for a whole trip down to the floor.
I gotta bend over. Yeah, he really has a hard time getting that sword.
Yeah. Yeah. So as we mentioned, it opens with this with the wrestling, and then we find our character Connor McLeod, and then he goes underground and has this fight that we're talking about, which is the first time that we see a Highlander fighting a Highlander for the to kill each other to ultimately someday win the prize, which is never super elaborated on.
Nope. No. What happens? Yep.
Yeah, but that and so the gist of the movie is we flip back and forth between what year is it? 1536 or something?
Sure.
And we see his past and how he's come to be in the 80s New York. But people in New York are like, someone's going around chopping people's heads off. We gotta do a investigation into the little lopper.
The cops in this movie are hilarious.
Yeah.
My God, that one cop who arrests him, who fucking hates him.
He's so mad right away. He doesn't like. You know, this is the guy. He just came out of the parking garage, all over him.
He fucking hates prisoners.
Man, come on. Oh, so good. And then the other cop, the one who's like running the investigation, he gives up so easily. He's interviewing McLeod, and he's like, and that guy, what was his name? And he's like, you didn't say his name. He's like, I guess you're right. Oh, well, this guy's too smart for me.
Listen, I'm not good at this.
That was my one move.
This guy sees right through me. He's a criminal mastermind.
He's immortal.
This guy has seen my shit before.
Yeah.
Like crime murder. You're gonna get there, buddy. You can do it.
Yeah. we should note that when he loses his sword under the car in that battle, where the guy gets his head chopped off and then all the cars blow up, he ultimately hides his sword.
Right. Like an expert.
Like yeah. In some kind of a like, I don't know, hole in the ceiling.
Yeah, it looks like a hanging like fluorescent light or something. Just like boink there.
Yeah.
I'll never look here.
Where's the sword? You don't know.
Yeah. I think after he's arrested, this is when we flash back to 1536.
Yeah.
And I guess everybody's coming back from a battle.
Yeah.
Right? And he's like...
Clan McLeod.
Yeah.
Very excited people.
Mm-hmm.
They're ready for it. He seems like
they're very family oriented until.
Mm-hmm.
And he's McLeod, part of Clan McLeod. Is he like the guy in Clan McLeod, or is he just like one of many? Is he a cousin? He doesn't seem like he's really good at anything. He seems
he did, but it did feel like all of their hopes and dreams were riding on his shoulders for some reason.
Yeah.
Because everybody was like, "Oh, you got to bring him back in one piece. He's our guy." Oh, well, I mean, she meant his dick, apparently.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, he did. He went right to it. It's like, I know what you want.
I know what you meant. You meant his dick, right?
Yeah, because they are gonna battle Fraser clan.
Hey, nice, good for you.
Wow.
And I think, is that how we're introduced to Clancy Brown?
Yeah,
he's like, I'll help them.
Kurgan, yeah.
He's like, I'll help these Frasers.
But you give me, there's somebody out there named Connor McLeod, and he's mine, and no one will fight him. And he's like, no one will fight me. So,
I love that part. He seemed so sad. Everyone's fighting him around him, and he goes, nobody will fight me. They all run away. Like, buddy, you're good too.
Is that why he's so mad at Christopher Lambert? Because he's like, well, I got to fight somebody, so I'll just pick this guy and.
Well, no, because
he knows he's a Highlander.
He says
Kurgan's already on the path.
Yeah, he says the kid is mine or something. Mm-hmm. Everybody leave him alone because he's mine. So
okay,
and then he gets off his horse and just stabs the shit out of him immediately.
He's such a bad at fighting.
I thought there was going to be a fight.
Me. Then one guy's like, "I'll fight you." He's like, "Great."
Yeah.
Why won't anybody? Why won't anybody fight me by gently slipping their sword into my heart?
But also the Kurgan, like, why did he go for the head like right away? Obviously, he's there for that. They'll just poke him in the belly, then he blows it. And, like a couple of guys drag him away, and it literally takes him centuries to find him again.
Yeah,
like, come on, man.
And this is when he doesn't die from his wound, and so everyone he knows is like, "You fucking witch, get the fuck out of here!"
He's the devil in him.
I love that. They were like, "Last night you were almost dead, and today you are better." Which, I guess.
Goodbye.
And his girlfriend is like, can't fucking wait for this.
She At first, she was like, "You bring his dick back home to me," and now she cannot wait until they were like, "Let's not burn him." She was like, "Fucking burn him!"
Yeah, she knew she was just
all.
pretending. Yeah,
burn his dick first.
Yes, start with his dick.
Yeah,
just burn his dick.
Here's a match. Right on the hole.
Just like the tip. It'll go down like a sparkler.
Yeah, it's a burning schoolhouse.
Shooting out the end of
it. Yeah. No, she was like, yeah, bring him back. I love him. And meanwhile, she's like cheating on him. And then when he does die, she's like, which?
She's like, oh shit. She's like, I've seen him fight. He's not coming back.
Yeah.
No, they brought him back.
I better make this a good performance when he leaves. Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, so they kick him out. They're like, goodbye forever.
Yeah, they put him in stocks.
They want to burn him, but that guy from Braveheart's like, you better go.
Yeah.
That guy was great. I thought he would come back and be vindicated somehow or be helpful, but no.
That's it.
And I like that it's like immediately we like do, I don't know if it's right away, but we do kind of come to him later, and it's like now he's a blacksmith and he has a new wife and a whole new life, like right away.
A new life with a new wife and no other people whatsoever.
No,
like nothing.
Well, for a while,
until Ramirez.
We get this.
I am Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez, Chief Metallurgist to King Charles V of Spain, and I'm at your service.
Couldn't have said Ramirez. Ramirez.
It sounds even worse when you don't see his face.
Yeah.
There's one point where he calls him Pandejo.
Yes.
That is so funny.
Oh God,
it's so great. He's running Pandejo.
It's like, just say it phonetically, Sean. I don't know what this means.
So do they give him so many names because he's had like a bunch of wives and stuff throughout the years? Is that the idea here?
Either that,
like
or
that
Connery's just making it up.
Because he does later say like, "Oh, I was married a bunch of times, and I don't want you to go through that pain." And I was just like, "Why is his name Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez?" Like, so long.
Yeah, and then the next day he's like, "Oh, also I'm Egyptian."
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And so he fills them in on the plot. He's like,
"Here comes exposition finally. 30 minutes and like get an idea what's happening."
Yeah, he's like, "You're immortal."
Yeah.
You cannot die, McLeod.
That kind of stuff.
Am I wrong that fucking Sean Connery is amazing in this movie?
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
He has so much life that I've never seen in any other movie from him, even the Bond movies, even the early Bond movies, the fun ones.
This is the thing that I was thinking earlier, sorry, but when we were talking about the casting and like what if it wasn't Christopher Lambert, what if it wasn't Sean Connery, I think, and Casey, you said like the campiness, I think that this maybe wouldn't work because you get Christopher Lambert doing his kind of like the way that he talks sometimes is like silly and kind of like endearing in a kind of dummy kind of way, and then you have Clancy Brown doing like ridiculous over the top, and then you have Sean Connery who's just doing Sean Connery, but his wardrobe does all the over the top acting.
But he does seem,
and it's amazing.
He's really full of life. Like he's so like exuberant. Like
like
he's the happiest person running down a beach that isn't named Apollo or Balboa. Like
he's fucking enchanted by running on the beach with his new wonderful friend.
Yeah.
That was the most like you asked it when I mentioned my friends watched this in high school and we would quote it frequently. There's not a lot of quotable lines other than like the odd "hello pretty" and but the quickening, that's the quickening, McLeod. Like, it come up all the time when people are getting stoned and drunk in high school. Like, if somebody was too high, you tell them, "Oh, that's the quickening, McLeod." Like, what you're feeling is the quickening. Or if you ran,
I'm gonna chop your fucking head off.
If you had to run for anything, a bus or whatever, really was cold. You feel that? That's the quickening. It was a delight.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
Yeah, that is good. He tells them all the exposition stuff, like you can't have kids, and if you fall in love, you'll regret it. All that shit.
Yeah, he says you can't have kids. He just says you can't have kids. He doesn't say biologically or legally. Like there's no. He doesn't say why he can't.
Mm-hmm.
No,
but then
like when she passes, because he stays with her.
She says she wanted to have his kid.
He's like, oh, they would have been fine and strong. It was like, did you not tell her that you're from your?
Well, that's what he says. Like when Sean Connery's like, your dick don't work like that. He's like, shut the fuck up, dude. She's gonna hear you.
Was he the weasel all of a sudden?
He's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Buddy.
Dude,
quit wheezing my juice.
Yeah, I did read that. I think one of the reasons why that they just go like, by the way, you can't have children anyway, is because that was a rewrite. Because apparently in the original script they could have children, and Connor had like 37.
Oh, wow. And I guess
they were just like,
Highlanders.
No,
they're just kids, and he watches them die.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, after the first one, I'd be like, and no.
Well, this was a horrible mistake. This is a horrible long.
You haven't lived until you've watched 37 of your children die.
Mm-hmm. So this whole chunk is the like training. There's a lot of sword fighting on mountains.
It's the worst sword fighting you'll ever see in a motion picture. When they're on that rock,
but shot the coolest
helicopter shot, really great, swinging around too. Really look at the sword fighting; they're just flat-footed. They look like two 8-year-olds who have paper rolls from inside of wrapping paper and are just smacking them at each other. It's the worst. And then when he finally gets better and he knocks Ramirez's sword out of his hand, for like a long time, Ramirez looks over the cliff like, "Oh fuck!" Like you weren't. We're just practicing. I have to go down there now. That was my good sword, you dick.
He's not wrong.
Yeah. He's like, I'm just going to jump and end it.
It's a long look he takes at it. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've gone past this because I don't know if my notes are chronological, but I think it's worth noting that in the present that the sword lady mentions the priceless sword she's looking for. Mm-hmm. She mentions how priceless it is, and then she goes, "It's worth $1 million."
Yeah,
I was like, "Whoa, $1 million!"
Yeah,
this thing is worth $538.
I do think that
this priceless sword is worth $1 million.
I think that the cop woman character was introduced, but we don't go back again until after Kurgan comes and is like, Connor's not there for whatever reason, he's out doing something, and Kurgan comes and he's like, I'm here to kill Connor, but like I'm gonna murder you instead.
Right.
Yeah. And that scene where they're like battling on this like sort of little mini castle with like lightning and all this shit is like falling is just fucking amazing art design.
That's the centerpiece of the movie. It looks so fucking good when everything's crumbling. Like
yeah, and then like there's on those stairs, and then like the bottom of the stairs comes out. Oh, really good. Fantastic.
Oh, so good.
So good.
Yeah. And I think after that, so Kurgan kills Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez. So and that was one of the things where I was like, oh, Connery's not in this as much as I thought.
No. Yeah.
Because it takes a while to get to him, and then we spend some time with him, and then
just going very quickly.
Yeah. But there is also his wife who is assaulted, I guess, by Kurgan as well. He's like, well, I'm going to do this now too, and basically screw you, Connor. And he shows up, right? Doesn't he? He's like, no, or something.
No, he just like because he was like, who's the girl? And Connor is like, oh, she's mine for whatever.
Yes, yeah.
It's like, well, anyway, I don't know why they have this conversation, but then it's like, oh, because he's gonna
Yeah.
Than we have to. Yeah. So Connor doesn't know about it until he finds out when he just drops it when they're sitting in the church after Kurgan's given himself his super sweet haircut.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm in disguise.
There's a lot about his final form that I have problems with.
He got the role, Clancy Brown, because Sting recommended him.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
He had been, I'm not sure what film, like Sting had been working on something and Clancy Brown was in it. I don't know if it was like The Bride.
Was it The Bride?
Or something like that.
Yeah.
And because the guy was a music video director and like knew Sting, and he's like, yeah, I'm trying to find some like big scary dude. And he's like, oh, try this guy. He's very big, I think is what Sting said. You know, like he's very big.
Nice.
Great. That's
Not
all I
wrong.
need. Yeah. Does he speak English? It doesn't matter. How big is he?
Yeah, nobody else in this movie speaks English, so it's fine. As long as he's big, he better be big.
He's big.
So then now we go back to 85 and we get the detective stuff, right? So there's like a detective woman. She's an expert in sword metal, and she finds some sword metal, and she's like, this sword's from so long ago, it's crazy.
Yeah.
They folded this thing 200 times.
Yeah, before they even folded things.
Nobody has time for that anymore.
I tried to do that
old.
I tried to do that with paper and I couldn't do it.
You could only do it 11 times. That's science.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're like, I'm gonna figure out where this sword comes from, and that's how they come across Connor.
Yeah. And they're like, he's the head chopping maniac. They're really certain about it.
Yeah.
Which again,
I mean, maybe
he's one of them.
He doesn't
one of many.
Act not guilty, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He's at least a troublemaker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they have their dinner scene and stuff. And, you know, he figures out the gun's there, and then she's recording it. Sees the cop outside.
Yeah.
By the way, a very young John Polito. That was fun to see him.
Totally. Now, this Brenda character witnesses Kurgan at some point, right? There's like an attack or something, and then the police arrive later, and they don't see it, but she does, and she's like, "Oh shit, something's going on here."
When is he? Is this when he's in his? There's a point where he's in his hotel room. Putting together his travel sword.
Yeah. Well, and he does that dope roll it between my arms.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. That's
pretty good.
Yeah. But does he have to put it together every time?
I was wondering, and like, how strong is the middle of the blade? I was when he's clicking.
Yeah, like you would think you would want like a real one solid unit, not something like a pool cue you're gonna fucking.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
He always puts it together after he sets up his travel clue. You know,
plays a quick game of Travel Scrabble.
Yeah.
Yeah, puts together his travel sword.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but is that?
Well, he has he fights another Highlander in the alleyway, and that's when the Marine guy shows up.
Yeah,
and survives his ordeal with him because he shoots the Kurgan, decapitates the Highlander. And then the
Highlander is the friend, like the guy that he's good friends with. Okay.
I really like that. I think that was the sequence when they meet on the bridge and they go they're gonna pull swords out, but it's just he's got a flask and they're good buddies and they're like whatever, you know, the gathering is here, so there you go. And like I guess they know at some point maybe they have to face each other, but they're not.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I really loved about this too, and I was hoping that there would be more made of this. Like, I loved the intense friendships he had with these men who like, you know, in a very unfortunate turn of events, would eventually have to turn on each other and cut each other's heads off.
Yeah,
and I thought that we would see more of an interesting struggle with that, but we don't. Clancy Brown just comes and murders everyone quite readily.
And for a movie that's 2 hours long, like there's this big chunk in the middle where it's like not much happens, and like that's where you should have been doing this. Yeah, so you go back to or when he's like a mess during his immortality, and you know, like can't be killed in a duel. Like I love that scene; it's great. You know? Having him over and over again. And he won't die and getting so frustrated.
That scene really made me laugh because it feels like a Family Guy cutaway. Like they're like, hey, if you think that's bad, remember the time we had that duel?
Yeah.
And then it's just a little skit about a duel.
Yeah.
But I wanted, generally, when I enjoyed this movie, I loved those scenes. Like when I was a kid, wanting.
Yeah.
I wanted more of that. Like that's
Yeah. There
super
should have been
fun,
more of that. It should have felt more like Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Yeah. The stuff about them having to kill each other is brought up very briefly by Sean Connery too, where they're like, well, we have to kill each other, and they're like, well, probably not, but you never know, or whatever. And you're right, like it's kind of like, I do think that when you read some of the behind the scenes writing and stuff, that's some of the things that the people that were working on this like talk about, where like it was so fascinating, these like friendships but also enemies throughout the years or whatever. And it's like, yes, that is there, but like could be there more.
There's so much to explore there because their friendships span centuries, like there's something inherently very interesting about a bond like that is only meant to end in decapitation.
Yeah. And like Ramirez, like he goes and trains up McLeod because he knows he can't beat the Kurgan. And like it's only because he's going to help this guy along because he can't let the Kurgan win.
Yeah.
Like you can't have someone this horrible win. And he's like, I'm not the guy to do it. And that's interesting too. That's a cool.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like not enough is made of that stuff.
No, or almost none. Like you have to kind of put it together after. Like, well, why would he do it? And like when he fights the guy, like he does okay, but it's pretty quick.
Yeah.
Now, after that scene where the Kurgan battles and beheads that other immortal.
Yeah. Then Marine guy shoots him a bunch, and then he gets killed and thrown against the wall and survives.
That Marine guy makes some upsetting noises. Like there's some like I'm like, no.
Yeah.
He's trying to help.
When Kurgan leaves that scene. When they leave that scene, there's an amazing little set piece where he rips the top of that car off and jumps in with the old couple.
Oh my god!
Oh yeah! And
that
guy
was when I was.
Chases, he's like, "Hey, my car!"
I love that.
Not my wife.
That's a fun little bit that he runs off going, my car. But at one point, completely out of nowhere, because she's not on the hood in one scene, and then in the next scene, it's coming around a corner, and the old lady is out on the hood, and that was when I was like, settle the fuck down, Highlander. Get that old lady off that
hood. Now we haven't even mentioned the Rachel character yet, which is Connor's secretary, when we have a flashback where he saved her from the Nazis.
That's a director's cut scene.
Yeah, during the Holocaust. Yeah,
it's good, and I'm glad they put it in. I like. Again,
I feel like
it's
more essential.
Of that stuff. Yeah, it's very cool because you want more of that texture to
him.
You
need to see him throughout time because you got to be like, well, I need to be able to fill in enough of the picture to make it feel like
and that they have
got to this point, by our own merit.
Yeah, and then she has like a lifelong relationship with him.
Right.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just a secretary, and then there's all these scenes where there's like a weird unspoken thing between them.
Yeah.
That they've known each other their whole lives.
Does she know,
you would just be like,
how did he convince
why
her?
is this? Yeah. You'd be like, why are they weird?
Oh, here, stab me in the belly. Do it. I dare you.
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I will give you $200 American.
Yeah, so I think after all of that stuff, we end up Connor goes to like a church or something, and he lights
a candle for his wife who died.
Yeah.
She asks him, on my birthday, light a candle for me. And he's like,
yeah.
Well,
and then Kurgan's like, "What up? We're the last ones."
But they can't fight on holy ground, and not even the Kurgan will break that rule. So.
And I like that scene.
But I do like that he very petulantly slaps all the candles out.
Nice. Yeah. He's a great dick. He's such a dick.
He's still a piece of shit. I won't fight you in this church, but I will fuck with your candles.
Yeah.
I have little respect for your candles.
And making noise with the nuns. What a wonderful performance.
I don't remember when. Sorry?
Oh, I just wanted to say, I thought it was a very funny line that the nuns walk by and he goes, "Happy Halloween, ladies."
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, that's pretty good.
But when does he say,
I have something to say. It's better to burn out than to fade away.
Yes, I love that so much. And then he does this little little fun punchy thing.
Yeah. That was good.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like, why
Really
is he
good.
that guy now? I mean, I know he's a metal guy now.
Yeah.
But well, it's weird that he's quoting Neil Young, but but we do need to talk about this incarnation of Clancy Brown throughout time, because this incarnation of Clancy Brown has a very realistic neck scar.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't look like a piece of tape that they just put across his neck and then drew some shit on it.
Yeah, true.
I was blown away. I was like, they put so much into, like, they exploded so many windows, and then they just ran out of FX budgets, I guess, because that thing just looks awful.
But I do like that you see the scar, and then later you see the scar before you see what happened, right? I think so. Yeah. I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
because you see him modern time, like at his hotel room and stuff. He's just,
yeah.
Yeah, delightful. Yeah, and I mean, it all at that point we're just sort of cruising to final showdown.
Yeah,
and not a lot of super fun scenes happen. No more flashbacks.
Mhm.
Now we're just
Yeah.
rolling down to empty apartment fight or whatever.
Totally.
They are. And
at a certain point, Connor's basically who has had kind of an identity the whole movie, where they all think he's Russell, has basically been like, "Fuck that."
Yeah.
The mask is off. Everybody knows.
So two things. So after the Marine guy survives the Kurgan, and the cops come in to talk to him, and they've got a picture of McLeod. They're like, "This was the guy, right?" It's the same cop who was like tried to do the little name switch thing. He's like, "This is the guy, right?" And the guy's like, "No, that's not him." He's like, "What? I got nothing."
Yeah.
He gets so defeated immediately. He just turns to his buddy like, "What do we?" This is ruined.
Yeah.
And yeah, he describes, I guess because he viewed The Quickening, he tries to describe that. And they're like, "Well, that sounds crazy."
Yeah.
And then the sword lady, whose name Brenda.
Yeah.
She goes there. She talks to that guy who's like going through all the previous owners of his property, and it's always like a child who just died or whatever. And then he assembles all the signatures and like and puts them all together.
Yeah.
And it matches his signature now. And he's like, so this is like an immortal guy. He fakes his death every. Like, he's like, that's what's happening based on these signatures.
And I love that it's based on the fact that the little letters wiggle around and wiggle. Like it says, like, what's his name? Russell
Nash or something.
Yeah. And one of the names on the thing is Russell Nash, and you see it becomes Russell Nash, and you go, oh, and then it wiggles up to where the spot where it's like, we didn't know it was going to be Russell Nash until it matched with Russell Nash.
And clearly he's an immortal who's been living in the same house the whole time.
It's a real leap.
You got to move around, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like, oh, maybe you inherit something. I don't know. Like they jump to the farthest possible conclusion. Yeah. So we do eventually get to this final duel, right? So where are they? They're like in Queens or something.
Well, they're in New York, because there's
like
a Queen version of New York that plays. That's awful.
Oh yes, yeah. When we finish talking about the plot, we need to talk about the Queen music. But they're like
and
on
the
top
fact
of
that Queen is the only band that exists in this
yes.
reality at
Everyone
all.
who drives around
there
puts
can
in
be only
tapes.
one, I guess. Yeah.
There can be only one band in the entire world. And the Highlander will quote them occasionally by going, "It's a kind of magic."
Yeah. they're on the top of that like Silver Cup Studios building that's in a bunch of movies, and they're fighting out. That's where they end up having their battle, which is dope because it's like a super big neon old school sign.
And
it's so good, and he's like cutting
batteries tied to the actor's legs so the swords would spark.
Oh my god.
Oh
that
man,
rules.
So good. It's such a great battle, and how he's like cutting the letters down and shit, and the letters are falling around her. Super good.
And there's like a point where they finish the battle on the roof, and I was like, that was a little underwhelming. And then they do like another second battle in the building, and it's like this big, huge open factory building with they've filled the water, the place with like an inch of water.
Iconic look. Like that's very memorable.
Looks so fucking cool.
So good.
Oh my god. And then that's when we get the final decapitation, and it's like a huge quickening explosion with like ghosts going or whatever kind of shit.
He gets to say and he says it like he doesn't know what it means.
Those little cartoon ghosts.
There can what?
There can be only one.
There can be only one.
There can be only one.
Oh, what a bummer.
What were you gonna say, Casey? With the little like ghosty things?
Cartoon ghosts were adorable.
Yeah.
And very cartoon. And when he's flipping all around and stuff, you can very much see all the wires that he's suspended from. And he's doing that thing where he's on the two wires that come down here, and he's just flipping around this way. It looks like they were like, we got these wires, and the wire guy, can you just like do some flips and shit? He just went great. Whee!
Yeah.
He
doesn't understand English. I just spit him then.
He can't object in English.
He's saying whatever the French word for stop is. Arrête! Arrête! They're like, what? More? Okay.
Faster.
Yeah. And so at this point, at the end of the movie, we are kind of revealed the prize, right? Because the prize is kind of that he's mortal now, right?
Oh yeah, okay. Is that what it is? Because he says to her, like that's the thing, because he goes like, I can have kids.
Yeah, he's like, I'm mortal and I can have kids now.
Yeah. Am I the only one with a boner?
So get that match away from me. And he can now like read the thoughts of everybody.
Yeah, it's kind of like this has like a big Matrix vibe to the end. Like he's like, he's gone full Neo, and he's like fully in with the people, and he can he can hear everything.
Because he says isn't it like a line at the end of the movie where he's like, I'm going to make world peace now or some shit. Yeah.
I'm going to make world peace now.
I'm going to make world peace.
No, I think the final line of the movie
stares at things a lot of this movie. So much.
Well, this actually brings me to a question too, and I don't know if you guys know the answer to this, but I heard somebody told me that Christopher Lambert is very like this close to blind.
Oh yeah, he's supposed to wear glasses. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And couldn't see anything that was going on, which
particularly in the fights.
Yeah, I was gonna say, which led to the incredible precision of the sword fights.
I think I read something about when they were doing like a horseback scene, he had to like wear his glasses until they came over the horizon. Then he had to be like,
oh man,
yeah.
Wow. Well, good on him. He did a great job of looking like he
could stare,
could see things.
I don't know. He could stare at something like a corpse. Yeah.
Yeah. So the music.
Yeah, big man. I mean, I don't know because of the no names other than Connery, and like it didn't do well in the States anyway to begin with. But if you don't have that Queen music going on, I don't know. This movie's going to feel much smaller.
Yeah, like that they really like. I felt like nobody was working harder than Queen on this movie.
Who Wants to Live Forever? That song is that's a beautiful all-time jam. It's so good.
You know what though? The opening on Princes of the Universe, and I had the volume up. I was like, this like, and I enjoy Queen, but they're not like a band that I know all their albums and I love all their stuff or anything. But I was just like, that song, the production, and like what it's doing with the way that of like the things between the beats. Like there's a part in that opening where it's just fucking kicking in, and then in between like a guitar beat and a drum beat, someone's just like, yeah. And I was like, that is so badass.
It's so good, and it's so tonally perfect. Like, it's such an exciting song. It's a beautiful melody, but he does that great thing where he's singing to get you all riled up, and then it really works. Oh man, fucking Freddie Mercury. That guy was good at singing.
It's so good. Yeah. I didn't listen to every song from that album that they did that had all the stuff from this on it, but I did listen to most of it, and I was like, the stuff that's from Highlander is so sick.
Yeah. Hammer Falls in there. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, super good.
And you're like, what could go wrong? Make some sequels to this fucking thing. Because obviously, I mean, that's immediately when there was like, there was going to be a sequel. It was like, there could be only, like, that's your thing. There can only be.
Yeah.
I don't get what
you said there would be only one.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
Go give it a shot.
and the fact that it was like kind of a delayed popularity. Like you said,
it was a home video success in North America.
It was like a $19 million budget, it says on Wikipedia. It made like 12 or 13 in theaters, but then it was like really popular, like you said, at home and also overseas, not necessarily theatrically, but again, like at home. Because all the reviews when this came out were like, this sucks, it doesn't make any sense, and I hate it.
Yeah, the sequel's in like 92 or 3, right? So.
Yeah. I just think that like the dismissal of the music video style movie at the time is so like in hindsight like ridiculous. Like I don't know how you can watch this movie, and even if you think it's like stupid and dumb, which it is, but like it's like constantly giving you like amazing visuals. It's like a dopamine drip of just like everything is so sick and cool and like awesome. And it's like, I don't understand how you could be like a critic. Like, I'm not saying they had to love this movie, but to be not even be able to be like, the effort put into making this movie look interesting at all times is like that's would have been so hard to do some of this shit. Like, how can you not at least be like, it sucks and I hate it, but like it's really good looking and there's things, or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how you could go in and just have a roundly bad experience watching this movie. It's just like even the shabby parts where I was like, this doesn't need to be here, and this is fucking stupid. I was on board for all of it.
Sure.
I was like, I don't even give a shit. I don't give a shit if Sean Connery's little beard is ridiculous. I love it more than anything.
Yeah. And to not like, to some degree, catch on to the camp of it. Because a lot of the reviews are just like either, oh, it's this rock video director, it's super showy, it's going to make you nauseous, or like there's an idea here that's good and it's wasted because it's kind of silly. But I don't know, like the fucking performances are selling it. Like they're all cranking it up. Like they all know they're making some silly, and that's part of like what I liked about it was like, I was like, I can't really resist something that this like so honestly and earnestly dorky and fucking nerdy, but then also like badass and like cool and like and the fact that there's always something to go back to after the boring stuff or the silly stuff that's like also kind of awesome is just like what I think what makes it work.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see this movie if it takes itself too seriously. Like I don't. There's nothing in it to grasp onto, because everything that I remember I mean, I watched it today, but everything that sticks in my mind about it is how it's silly fun. Clancy Brown is chewing the fuck out of the scenery, and everybody knows where they are. Maybe Christopher Lambert doesn't know where he is, but I'm sure somebody told him. Everybody just seems to be having fun. And then I was like, okay, cool, me too.
Yeah, and it's like in an age now where it's like comic book movies are so big, it's interesting to see something like this and be like, this is a comic. this is just a comic book style like adventure yarn and it's like that's what's so like that's like constantly the biggest movies now, and it's so weird to look back on something and be like nobody no critic stood behind this and said this is fun. I don't know.
Like and wasn't stuff like this wasn't unheard of at the time. Like there was kind of swashbuckly nonsense that was going on around this time. Like it's not like this was out of left field for people to hate on, and then all of a sudden for the back half of the 80s, like, oh, we love everything to look like a music video now.
This film happened in a world where the ice pirates already existed, so
yeah.
So why bother making any more movies?
And movies are done.
That's why no one liked it. They're like, well, it's not fucking ice pirates.
That's why that's my yardstick for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is, I was like, this is our new son, and I was like, is he as good as Ice Pirates?
No, probably not.
Now, with the way this movie ends, with a mortal man, there can be only one. He's killed them all. What do you think we're gonna go with, Casey? Because I have no idea what the sequel is gonna be, and I know that the sequel has Connery. I mean, I guess they could just jump back to any other time in the world.
Yeah, that's a convenience that they can really lean on, and that's fun.
Yeah.
So great. I mean, maybe because like now this is the end. There's no more quickening or anything. He's the only one to whatever. What was the fucking point of any of this then? If it was to turn him into a mortal so that he could have children, why did any of this Highlander shit exist?
Yeah. What if every Highlander ever was just like, let's not fight and live forever?
yeah, exactly. Like they're like, oh well, we're compelled towards each other. Yeah, but you're also like dudes. So just be like,
most of them are just like, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Let's party.
Let's just get a house together. We're gonna fucking PlayStation 5.
Yeah. There should be like an opening to one of the sequels where it's like the Warriors, where they're getting them all together to be like, we gotta have a truce. Come on. Yeah. I'm honestly excited for the quickening Highlander 2 because I know that it's like one of those movies that is known to be a huge bomb and everybody hates it, and obviously there's multiple versions, but I'm like, if it's just more of this type of movie and maybe it takes place in different eras and it's just like silliness cranked up to 100, maybe it's in the past, maybe it's in the future or whatever, I'm just like, I'm up for it. I hope it's just dumb and entertaining.
Yeah,
because I know there are some people who are like, actually it's awesome and silly and fun and stupid, so
like, I mean, despite my absolute enjoyment of the first Highlander movie, my expectations are still ground floor.
I don't know. I feel like I might be disappointed because I'm like so stoked to be like, yeah, everyone says this sucks, but I like a lot of shit that sucks. So let's go.
I haven't seen it in a very long time. I saw it in the theater and was very unhappy. And I think I watched it again at home on cable and was just like, maybe it's me. No, that's not good. And then there's the Renegade version. I'm like, oh, they fixed it.
So the Renegade version is legitimately thought of as better? Is it like
it was delivered, presented as better? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't remember what the differences are.
That brings me to my question about programming. Because we have stated in the past that we will be doing both versions of 2.
Like we have to
AB this son of a bitch?
I think so. I think we'd be stupid not to.
It kind of would be, right? Well,
because
one
then
is
some
fresh
other
in our
Highlander
mind.
podcast is going to do it, and we're going to look like fucking idiots. They're going to set our
every other Highlander podcast is going to steal this idea, and we're just going to be here standing with our dicks on fire.
Yeah, when we go to the Highlander podcast convention, we'll be laughed out of the building.
They didn't even invite us this year.
Yeah, these guys only did Renegade. What a bunch of fucking idiots.
Yeah. Now, are we saying we're just going to watch regular and then Renegade and then just do one episode on the whole thing? Okay. I think that's right. I think that's the right way to go about it.
So too.
Right.
Okay. I'm excited about
Me
it.
too.
I'm nervous. Yeah. But excited.
Should be.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I think we did this.
Is there anything else we need to cover?
No, I think
like
this is the definitive. The
I'm
definitive
glad
document.
that you guys finally saw Highlander and enjoyed it.
I know.
Oh man, and again, just what a wonderful experience. Like this morning, just like quiet house, just me and my little office, just really enjoying something that made me feel like I was a kid.
I rewatched it, half of it at home with Athena, and she fell asleep, and then I fell asleep, so I needed to finish watching it. And I was at work waiting for approval on something with nothing to do, so I watched the second half of it in a van, which I think is
nice.
It's the only way to watch Highlanders.
Yeah,
in a van.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially if that van has like shag carpeting and
Yeah.
sweet quadraphonic sound.
Oh, and some airbrush on the side of it.
Oh yeah,
really good.
This will also be the first episode when we can announce that if you'd like to find us on the internet, you can go to spacehey.com/TCBOF.
Fucking nowhere else.
Yes, space. It's called space. Is it space -hey.com?
No, one word.
No,
just
just
spacehey.com/TCBOF.
Yeah,
HEY, not HAY.
No, it'll be in the show notes, and if you go to that website, you will find the link to our YouTube and our RSS feed.
Yes,
but we're just gonna say go there.
Space Hey is our primary social media.
Yeah,
that is where you'll find us.
I would like to say that I tried to make a MySpace page for us. But
yeah,
they don't have an app. There's not an app anymore.
Yeah,
and it's very
very hard to
really
go downhill. Have you noticed that?
It's super hard to use. I couldn't figure out how to upload a photo.
and this is why the good people at spacehey.com stepped in.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, people listening, go make your own Space Hey, and you'll be able to comment on our blog posts. Friend, you can be in our top 5 or whatever it's called. Friends.
If you're worried about the website looking like it's not from 1996,
don't worry.
Yeah, that's just the quickening. Yeah.
Yeah. And I did post a first blog, and I included a under construction GIF in it.
Oh, good.
So don't worry.
So it's all there for you.
Yeah.
Spacehey.com, future of social media.
Mm-hmm.
We're on it.
Yeah. And we will be TCBOF on YouTube and on Anchor FM. But spacehey.com is where you want to be. TCBOF.
It's where it's at.
Where I want to be.
Yeah. All right.
Okay then.
I think we should end every episode like this.
Don't ever speak to me again. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
So, goodbye, and don't ever speak to me again.
Don't ever speak to any of us again.